Welcome to Asbury United Methodist Church. My name is Peter, and today's godly lesson is about the Holy Family. However, before we begin our lesson, let's look at our circle of the church here. We will move the arrow one space. So as you can see, we are getting closer to the season of Advent. We only have 10 Sundays left until the first Sunday of Advent. And if you remember, we talked about as we went around the circle, the times change. And I was noticing last night how dark it was. It was so early. It was only like 8 o'clock, and I actually had to turn on a light. So the seasons are changing. Now, today's story is, like I said, about the Holy Family. And as we hear this story, you might think, wait a second, that sounds like the Christmas story. Well, it is the Christmas story. However, the Holy Family is where our story always begins. So it's always good to go back and review that story. So before we begin, let's bow our heads and say a prayer. Good and gracious God, we thank you for our mothers, we thank you for our fathers, our brothers, our sisters, our aunts and uncles, our grandparents. We thank you for all our family, even those who are not related to us, but those who love us and take care of us and guide us on our way. Be with us today and always. Amen. This is the Holy Family. Sometimes when you see something like this, it is not for children to touch. It might break easily, so a lot of times you will need to ask if you can touch it or even play with it. This Holy Family, however, is for you. It is for you to touch and to work with. And in Sunday school, you will not need to ask to touch it or work with it. This is the Christ child. He is holding out his arms to give you a big hug. And the Christ child is placed in the manger. Here is Mary, the mother of Jesus. Here is Joseph, the father of Jesus. Here is the donkey. That Mary rode when she and Joseph went to Bethlehem to be counted by the Romans. Mary was about to have a baby, so it was very hard for her to walk. Sometimes she rode on the donkey. However, it was also very hard to ride on the donkey when you are about to have a baby. So sometimes she got down and walked instead. Here is the cow. That was in the stable when the baby was born. She was so surprised to find a baby in the feed box or the manger where she usually found her breakfast. Here is a shepherd who saw the great light in the sky at night. Now, there were more shepherds that night, but we will put down one to remind us that there were many more. And here are some of the sheep. And likewise, there were many more sheep with the shepherd, but we'll just put down a few. And that will help us remember. When the shepherds saw the light in the darkness, they were afraid. And guess what? I would be too. Then they heard singing, and that even scared them more, until they heard the words. The angels sang about peace on earth and goodwill to all people. The shepherds were told to go to Bethlehem, and they did. Now, here are the three kings, or the wise ones. They were wise so that people thought they were magic. In their language, they were called magi, which is like our word magic. Of all the things they knew most about the stars. One day they saw a wild star. The Magi knew where all the stars were supposed to be in the sky. But this star was new, and it moved. The star was not on their maps of the sky. So when it moved, they were curious, and they followed it. And it led them to the place where the Christ child was born. And the Magi brought with them gifts for the Christ child. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Here is the little baby reaching out to give you a hug. He grew up to be a man and died on the cross for us. And that is very sad. But it is also wonderful in an Easter kind of way. Now he can reach out and give the whole world a hug. Jesus is not just back then in this place or that place. Jesus is everywhere and in every time. This is the Holy Family. You can work with it anytime you want to, because this is for you. Now, I wonder what part of the Holy Family you like best. I wonder what part of the Holy Family is the most important. Is it the wise men, the shepherd, the sheep, Joseph and Mary, the baby Jesus? I wonder what part of the Holy Family is most important, and I wonder if you have ever seen the Holy Family in the church. And lastly, I wonder if there is any Holy Family that we can take out and still have the story of Christ's birth. And I wonder where God has been with you this past week. Maybe you can draw a picture, write a story or a poem. And until we meet again, may the peace of God be with you. Amen.